Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the course. So we are in chapter 3 and we are in section C. So we are focused on the reading comprehension exercise that we have here. So we're going to read this article, and then in the next part we're going to engage in the activities and the questions with regards to this article. So pay attention to the details and the information that is contained within this article so that you are able to answer and respond to the questions in the next slide. Okay, so read this newspaper article about the A-team. As you read, think about the answers to this question. What type of emergencies causes most difficulty for the team? So this is the question that we have to keep in mind and think about the response of this particular question while you're reading. So I'm going to read. So remember, I just want to reiterate it again. Read over it first, then compare your pronunciation with mine. Okay, and then also pay attention to the use of intonations. All right, so without further ado, let's get started with reading. So the A-team. Atherton County in Washington State is a beautiful place. Tucked into the southeastern corner of this western state, the name means place of eels in the local Indian language and refers to the huge quantity of eels that are found in the county's numerous rivers and other waterways. Atherton is also the home of the A-team, 4 members of the local sheriff's department who are involved in rescue and emergency services provision in the country. While their colleagues busy themselves with illegal hunting and speeding motorists, Kevin Pate, Raul Hernandez, Brian Grant, and Lucy Pagal have for some 7 years been at the sharp end of incidents as varied as landslides, flash floods, highway pileups, and even a bear that ran amok in the town of Anatone. So recall the word amok in the previous slide. Okay. So we are the guys they call when things go badly wrong in the county, explains Brian Grant, a handsome, rugged Oregonian who at 31 is the baby of the A-team. We used to be called the Atherton Alert Team, which became the AA Team, but we changed it because we didn't want to be thought of as alcoholics. Okay, so if you know alcoholics, there's an AA group, Alcoholics Anonymous, I think, and people confess the fact that they're addicted to taking alcohol. Okay, so forces of nature. I asked the 4 members of the A-team gathered for this interview in the sheriff's office canteen, what caused them most problems? Was it drunken drivers or the wildlife this region of Washington State is famous for? I would say it was undoubtedly Mother Nature, says Raul Hernandez. Just last week, we rescued a guy out of his car that had been swept away by a flash flood on the George Creek. His car was sinking fast, but we managed to get the door open, and the driver was able to swim to the shore. Unfortunately, he was driving with his Labrador dog, and we couldn't save the dog in time. Oh, that's unfortunate. Kevin Pate, 40 years old, and the senior member of the rescue crew agrees. we get some extreme weather in this part of the state. We've had everything from earthquakes to tornadoes. Forest fires are also a big killer. Last summer, a large stretch of the Umatilla National Forest, which is situated in the west of the county, went up in smoke, Kevin continues. The firefighters succeeded in controlling the blaze, and we were involved in rescue missions. A lot of picnickers and the like got caught up in the fire, and many of them couldn't get out as they were more or less surrounded by towering flames in a gusting wind. Part of the job. So Lucy Pagal, who's 36 years old, recalls the Umatilla fires. Many people are just convinced that these things won't reach out and touch them until it's too late, that is. This one family of 4 was trapped in a picnic area with a wall of fire surrounding them. They couldn't get out at all. We managed to beat a path into the area and were able to get them out with about 5 minutes to spare. It was terrifying. Tragically, that day, 4 out-of-state visitors perished in the Umatilla National Forest. Oh, that's unfortunate. Brian Grant sums up the thoughts of the rest of the group when he states that you get to see tragedy and death as part of the job. You almost become desensitized to it. You can't save everybody. You just have to remember all the people you did manage to save. I left Asserton with the reassuring feeling that my safety, should tragedy strike, would be in the hands of these competent, brave individuals who would combat hell and high water to save me. Alright, okay, so this sounds like a pretty dangerous county with a lot of natural disasters. Okay, so I hope you understood every single thing that was said in this particular reading comprehension. So remember, we have to keep one question in mind. What type of emergencies causes most difficulty for the team? Okay, so if we go through the article, it is pretty clear what the answer to that is. Okay, so if we look here, I asked, if we go down here, Forces of Nature, if you see that title there, I asked the 4 members of the A team gathered for his interview in the sheriff's office canteen, what caused them most problems? What caused them the most problems? Was it drunken drivers or the wildlife this region of Washington State is famous for? So it had nothing to do with the wildlife. It had nothing to do with drunken drivers and the accidents that are caused by that. But as Raul Hernandez said, I would say it was undoubtedly Mother Nature. So they gave all kinds of examples as to what happened with regards to Mother Nature, right? There was a flood that one individual was involved in, which resulted in his Labrador dog losing its life. We have one here where Kevin Pate talks about earthquakes and tornadoes, that they have every kind of natural disaster there. And they also spoke about forest fires in Umatilla National Forest, which unfortunately claimed the lives of 4 individuals that were out of state, that they didn't belong to that particular state. So if we read this article, it is quite clear that the most dangerous things that they do come across, the types of emergencies that are the most difficult to handle, are definitely ones that have to do with natural disasters. Okay, alright, so we've covered that question, we've covered the reading comprehension. Now let's jump into the questions. Alright, see you soon.